Welcome to my romance vlog for the week. So this week I have picked 3 different romance titles to read and give you my thoughts on them as I work through each of the books. I'm excited. All of these sound absolutely amazing, so I can't wait to dive in. The first one I've been looking at for quite some time. I've heard some reviews and really want to try this series because I really do love Disney. My husband's not into it as much as I am, but I really love Disney World. There's just something magical there. So it is the Dreamland Billionaire series. I'm going to start with the first book. Obviously, it is The Fine Print here by Lauren Asher. I'm super excited. I did pick this up at my local bookstore because it seems like it is a hot commodity at my library system, and I wanted to make sure that I have plenty of time to read it. I'm hoping that I love it and can add the other 2 to my collection. This one follows Rowan. We have 3 brothers here who lose their grandfather, and as a part of their inheritance have to do different things in order to prove that they should be in charge of the business. Otherwise, it goes to their father. I have heard things that the father's not the greatest. Again, I haven't read it. I'm trying to go into it relatively blind, and there's a romance that develops as a part of this. I'm so excited. I believe that the 3 books, we do see snippets of the other characters, which is fun. Can't wait to learn more. Like I said, I just have basic information and I'm super excited to dive in. The next book that I have picked is It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. We have our main character, Piper, here, who is kind of unceremoniously thrust into Westport, Washington to figure out her life. She has gotten in trouble for the last time, and her stepfather sends her to the bar that her birth father had opened and run before he was tragically killed in a fisherman accident. And so this bar has kind of been sitting there. And when Piper gets into trouble, her stepfather says, "That's enough. You need to learn how to be a responsible adult. You need to go run this bar. I think it's for a 90-day period of time. Figure out your life. I'm going to give you a small stipend. Otherwise, you're completely cut off from all of the money that she's normally used to having in Beverly Hills, her friends, credit cards, that type of thing." And her sister decides to go along with her. The 2 of them descend on this small town and try to figure out their way. Of course, this being a romance, we have a grumpy fisherman that immediately catches her eye. She catches his. You know, there's not just sparks flying. They're not sure they really want to get involved with one another. And this one sounds really, really fun. I think there's a follow-up to this following the sisters. The final book for the romance vlog for the week is Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute by Talia Hibbert. I've been seeing this everywhere. Everybody has been reading this book, so I needed to jump on the bandwagon as well, see what all the hype is about. A lot of people have really, really enjoyed this book, so I'm excited. Believe it's friends to enemies to lovers scenario, I believe. So we'll see. We have these 2, I believe they're teenagers. We have Brad and Celine here who are competing against one another on a survival course. They hate each other's guts, and so they have to compete against one another in order to see who gets the grand prize. I'm intrigued. It looks cute. Very cute, as it says. I've heard great things about this book, so let's hope this continues my success in the romance genre. The first book that I picked up for this week was It Happened One Summer, and I read right through it. I read it over the weekend and really enjoyed it. The print isn't super small. It's getting close to 400 pages, but I flew right through this book. I did not want to put it down. It was just a happy, fun, upbeat romance. I really loved Piper and her sister Hannah. Piper was my favorite, of course. She just finds a way with people to get them to surround her orbit, and they just want to be around her. And she's just a very kind person. Even though she's been incredibly spoiled in her life, she finds a way to connect with the people in this town, build a relationship with her fisherman Brendan, even though he is still kind of getting over the death of his wife. They have to work through those issues just to deal with what it means to be the significant other of a fisherman. and all of the dangers that that brings, because as she knows, her father died that way. And so she has to deal with her emotions over that, navigate herself through this small town, trying to fix up the business that she thought would be ready to run. Her and her sister put all of the pieces together to figure out this is the place they want to be if they are headed back to Beverly Hills the second they can. I really, really enjoyed myself with this book. It was a lot of fun. There were some spicy, steamy scenes in here, so if that's not what you're looking for, there are a few scenes in here. I'm going to go ahead and give this a 4 stars. So the next book I've decided to read for my romance vlog for the week is Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute book by Talia Hibbert. I have started this book already and I'm on page 142. So about halfway, I want to say, through with this book. We have Bradley and Celine here, who were friends, then had a falling out and have been absolute enemies for, I think, a couple of years now. And now it seems like there might be a little bit of spark. At least they're starting to figure out how they can be friendly to one another. As a part of a competition they are in for a full scholarship for college, they are figuring out there's 3 scholarships available, and they're figuring out that perhaps it's best if they work together to get the scholarship for the both of them. This is as part of a survival course in the woods, hence the reason that they may want to team up. And so we're seeing a little bit so far. At this point, what we're seeing is them kind of figure out their way back to one another. It's a dual POV, so we're seeing both the point of view from Celine and Brad at different times throughout here. So it's interesting to hear their back and forth, or their perceptions of what's happening and going on between the two of them. Interested to see what happens through all of this. It seems like Celine is finally coming into her own and kind of opening up to the possibilities of making other friends. So it's interesting to see her personality kind of grow and develop throughout. So I'm enjoying it so far. I will give you an update when I have finished. So I'm here at the library. I thought I would pick up a book that's on hold. Today's the last day. I've been neglecting picking up my hold. I was waiting to see if anything else came in. So I thought I would go ahead and pick that up. And I think there's a walking path here. I haven't really tried it. I'm kind of looking and I'm like, I don't know where exactly it goes, but I thought that might be kind of interesting to try. I need to get out and get moving a little bit. So I thought I would try to kind of scope out this walking path here, see where it goes, and maybe I'll find a new walking path for the summer. I have finished Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute, and I'm going to say something that is going to be so shocking that you might want to hold on to your hats. I am not the target audience for this book. I know, like, mind blown, and just doing that, you can tell that I am not the target audience for this book. But I knew so many people were talking about it, and so I really wanted to give it a try. I know it's a very popular right now. It's very cute. I put it down. So Unfairly Cute is a good term for it. It's just hard for me because I know I am not the demographics for this book, but I wanted to pick it up because I've heard so many people talking about it. It's on a lot of people's radar, and I thought it sounded like something that would be fun, lighthearted, something that I wanted to try, see what I thought. It's definitely aimed for teens. I feel like this is really young teens. That's my opinion. Now, I don't have children in that age group any longer, so that's up to you as to whether or not, you know, the age group that you think is appropriate for your child, if you're looking for a book for them or for a gift. But I honestly think this was very, very cute, and it had a lot of good representation in here. I think it might be a really good choice for a gift for a younger teen. I don't know if teens, the age of the characters in this book, I'm thinking they're looking for something a little bit more advanced, but I definitely think this was a good addition to the romance genre. I don't think my rating is necessarily fair to how I would feel if I was younger. So I really hesitate to give it a rating, but I don't want to give the impression that I didn't like it. I'm going to give it a 3, which I still think is a good rating. Just think my rating might have been a little bit higher, but let's be real. I am many, many years out of the demographic for this book. So I enjoyed it. It was a light, fluffy read, but I will say when I set it down, there wasn't anything really compelling me to pick it back up other than finishing this vlog. I don't know that I would pick up any more YA romance from this author, and I don't even know if that's really a genre that I am going to pursue in the future. I might grab a book here and there, but I don't want to unfairly review something because I am so far removed from the target audience. So I think this was fun, and I'm going to give it a 3-star. The final book for the vlog is The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. I will go ahead and start jumping into this. I have not read any of it yet so far. It is from the Dreamland Billionaire series, so I am excited. I'm really hoping I enjoy this. I see a lot of people talking about this series, and it was very prominently displayed in my local bookstore, so I'm excited. Fingers crossed. I don't want to have too high of expectations. Fingers crossed that I really do enjoy it. As expected, I am loving The Fine Print so far. This is so Disney. And I happen to love Disney. There are so many mentions of things that I'm like, how are they getting away with this? We have Cinderella's castle. We have obviously somebody who is sort of like Walt Disney, which is the grandfather in here. And we have all of the rights, the different lands. We have the creators, which are like the Imagineers. There's so many things. I mean, you know, I'd be here all day trying to equate both of them to one another. But yes, this is Disney World, called Dreamland, which is why I picked it up in the first place. I thought, hey, it sounds kind of cute, and I'm intrigued. In this first book, we have Rowan, one of 3 brothers. It's a trilogy, so there are 3 books in this series. He is the youngest, I want to say, and the most creative one. And his father has really held him back, made him feel less than for being creative and wanting to draw instead of being like the financial guru that he wants him to be. And so he's really kind of lost himself. He also doesn't trust anyone and has held himself away from having relationships and friendships because he feels like everybody is out to take advantage of him for his wealth, power, opportunity, all of that. He's worth billions. So he can be taken advantage of by anybody that's looking for a step up or a handout. And so he's really cut himself off from everybody in the world and is very standoffish. And I'm loving this. I can't imagine that I'm going to want to put this down later tonight. So I am about 45 pages into The Fine Print here. And I am really enjoying it. It's exactly what I had wanted it to be. We have Dreamland, which, you know, AKA Disney World. And I love some of the behind the scenes peeks and glances that we're getting. Not a lot, but just a little bit of the Imagineer or creator, as they call it here, process. We have Rowan here, who is the youngest of the 3 brothers, who is trying to complete a task that his grandfather gave him in his will in order to obtain his, I think it's 18% of the family fortune, so all of the businesses and such. His grandfather gives him a task, which is to create a project that is going to throw the theme park business over the top. So he has to come up with a project, see it through for 6 months, and it will be voted on by a committee of his grandfather's choosing to determine whether or not he's done enough to obtain his shares in the company. So his grandfather's kind of trying to tap into his creativity that's kind of laying dormant. His father was not enthusiastic about his creativity, his love of drawing, and so really kind of made fun of him and belittled him for wanting to do that instead of playing sports or being in finance or all of that. So he kind of went the ways in which his father designed for him instead of his own self. I'm still holding the book here. It's getting heavy. It's kind of a chunky book here. And so he's kind of lost himself. He doesn't feel like himself anymore. He's definitely the grumpy here to Zara's sunshine. And when the 2 of them meet, there are, you know, sparks, fireworks, you know, over Cinderella's castle, so to speak, right away. And they bump heads. I love the banter here between the 2 of them. I love that you can feel the spark and the sizzle underneath the surface, but I can already see the setups for the conflicts that are going to happen between the 2 of them. They're not being honest with each other, obviously, as we see a lot in romance novels. So I'm interested to see how this whole thing plays out. I'm sure they are going to hurt one another with the lies that they are already telling. But I can't wait to see how this all turns out, what the great project is. I'm sure Zara has a big hand in it, so I can't wait to see how this all turns out. So I have finished the fine print and loved it just like I thought I would. This is such a heartwarming story. I really liked how things turned out, but of course, there were a lot of bumps and bruises along the way. There were moments that I was like, they're never going to come back from this, but of course, it's a romance. And so here we are. But yes, I loved it. The story of Rowan and Zara. I had to refilm this because I kept calling her Zahara. It's Zara. I don't know why. The whole time I was reading the book too. I had it wrong in my head. So that didn't bode well for this video. I might have said it wrong. Apologize if I said it wrong in any of my introduction videos, but yeah, so we have Rowan and Zara, and they are so cute. He is definitely the grumpy to her sunshine. She just has this spirit about her that makes you want to be around her, and he was the exact opposite. Everybody ran from him. They were afraid that they were going to get fired if he even noticed them at all. He made a lot of cuts to the company in order to bolster their bottom line in an effort to make his grandfather and father proud, thinking that those are the reasons. And yeah, I mean, obviously they like money. It helps them do a lot of things, but at what cost? And I think he really realized that at the end here. I'm excited to see where this story goes with the two other brothers. I do know the premise for his, I think it's his oldest brother. Is that Declan? I want to say that he has to find a wife and get her pregnant. I was just like, wait, what? It was kind of like, not everybody wants children. So I'm a little, I don't know. I was a little taken aback that that was the request, but we'll see how it's all handled in the book. Of course, I bought the next two books in the series because I absolutely loved it. I love the references to Disney. I don't know how they got away with it. Or how Lauren Asher got away with it here, because there were times I was like, that's Cinderella's castle. How is she saying that? It's Walt Disney. The grandfather is definitely Walt Disney. So how are we? I was like, okay. The author did a really, really good job of making it seem like it was Disney without saying it was Disney. But yeah, I felt immersed in that world. I was very invested in the two of them, Rowan and Zara. I really wanted them to live happily ever after, figure it out between the two of them. They just seemed like such a great match. And yeah, I absolutely loved this. Can't wait to read the next ones. You'll see if I do my haul. I have it sitting behind me. You can't see my stack here of some books that I have picked up, but I picked up the next two books in the series. I thought I would really like these and want them in my collection, and I wasn't wrong. So as soon as I finished this book, I thought I better buy the next two books in the series because I really loved it and I wanted to have it in my collection. It would be nice to have a backstory of the grandfather and perhaps the father. I don't know if that's in the works, but I think that would be very interesting. So we'll see. I don't know. For now, there's just the three. I tried to do a little digging. If anybody knows, let me know in the comment section down below. Tried to do a little bit of digging to see if there's anything planned for upcoming books. I think they've done really well. I see a lot of buzz about them, so fingers crossed there are more. I'm gonna go ahead and give this a 4.5 star. So that'll do it for my romance vlog for the week. I think I had a really good week. Overall, I mean, I had 1 4-star, 1 4.5, and I had the YA romance, which is just out of my age range. I mean, let's just be really honest. It was just too young for me. It was cute, which I keep saying because it was cute, but it was also in the title of the book. So I would say it was enjoyable, just a little bit young for me. I would recommend if you have younger YA, they might really enjoy that one. Overall, I wouldn't say I would recommend it to adults, but it was fun. It was enjoyable. It was very, very lighthearted. Definitely, I don't know that I would pick up any more YA romance books from that author, or maybe even in general. I don't know. I mean, I guess I'd have to hear, you know, some opinions on whether or not it was super young before I make up my mind. But I'm glad that I picked it up and gave it a try. I will say that the Dreamland Billionaire series was definitely the highlight of this vlog for me. So if you're on the fence and you're thinking about it, pick this up. I mean, if you can get it at your local library, great. Pick it up, give it a try. I really enjoyed this. This was such a fun read, and I cannot wait to read the next 2 books in the series. So that'll do it for this vlog. Hope you are all doing well. If this is the kind of content that you enjoy, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Subscribe for more videos, and I will see you next time. Bye, everybody.